Hello, Marky Dragon, also known as Marcus Eichenberry in real life, and I'm today at the Smithsonian Air and Space Museum in Washington, D.C., and I'm answering some questions from my YouTube inbox. If you have any questions for me, feel free to message me here on YouTube. I accept all the messages. I don't get to reply to all of them, but I do read some of them, and they get answered sometimes in videos. So I have a question here. I'm gonna leave him unnamed because of the type of question he's got. And he has a question about in-game sales. In-game sales. He says, I've come to a position that you once encountered. I recently started selling in-game items for in-game currency. And in-game currency. I've been making sales as high as $25 per item worth of in-game currency. It is against the terms of service to sell the currency for real money. But I wonder, how would they find out? And would they even care? It's a violation of the terms of service, most definitely. I very much love this game and wish to continue playing, but I don't want to be banned. But if I were to quit the game, would it matter? Well, see, if you love the game, don't do it. You can get busted for RMT, real money trade. Back in the day, it's been quite a while. But back originally in, it was 1997, Ultima Online, where we started doing what they now call RMT, real money trade. We were doing this. Nobody knew any different about it. Nobody thought that it was improper or a violation of the terms or anything, because there was no such thing as terms on it. In fact, when we started doing this kind of stuff, no one had any clue whatsoever about what the impacts would be, where it would lead to. And in fact, in Ultima Online, like Richard Garriott himself is going, this is really cool. Can you see how much they sold this sword for? This castle went for $13,000 or whatever. And this stuff was all very amazing. But as time went by, they started to really clamp down on that and say, no, it's not okay. And for that reason, eventually, we gave it up. We were grandfathered in on Ultima Online for quite a few years, and I actually had in writing that it was okay for myself and a few other people who acted ethically in the game selling items to continue, that we were not going to be bothered. And it wasn't a letter of saying, yes, you can do this, you can make this money. It was a letter of saying that, no, we're not going to bother you, even though we changed the terms of service to say that it's now prohibited. And so it went on selling for many more years. In fact, it was probably about year 12 or so of doing this that my accounts got banned in UO. And it was kind of interesting because it was a rogue GM who deleted my accounts, and they didn't know about this, other thing that we had in writing. I mean, how would they? I mean, we got this thing in writing, 5 years prior, something like this, and it's, probably some, young person in the company that's really trying to make a name for themselves and do something fantastic like ban Marky Dragon. They banned me, by the way, for duped items in my account, which were acquired 7 years prior. So apparently I had some duped items on my account that I got 7 years before. Hell, if I even knew. Well, maybe I knew that they were duped at the time, but 7 years? Oh, come on, we knew that there was some duped items going around back then, but there was no way to tell one from another. They were exact replicas. They were exactly the same thing. That's one of the things that Ultima Online had a problem with early on, was the fact that you couldn't tell one item from another. They just had the same item number. So they would both be the exact same thing. You didn't know which the original was at that point. And so nowadays, games give unique item numbers to every item, and they can tell which one's the original and stuff like that. But back to the thing of, whether or not you should sell, the ethics of it say no, that you shouldn't. And, if you have value there, maybe at best gift your account to somebody else, another friend who's playing or whatnot, but I wouldn't suggest selling it. And then selling it just a one-off, that's really hard to do, because in my experience, more than 50% of the people get scammed on that. More than 50%. You wonder how it is that these markets have become so untrustworthy and everything, and it's because of people taking advantage of people like you saying, "Oh, I'm quitting the game. I want to, just sell out." And somebody makes you a fantastic offer, and you're really excited, and you want to take it. You want to take that money. You want the, $500 that they offer you for your account when it's actually a $250 account, and screaming children in the background. That's what happens when you film in public. And so, you get this offer and you think it's really great, or somebody doesn't dicker with you at all, and they say it's okay. I'm gonna pay you your full asking price. Dude, be totally on guard on that kind of stuff. That's how people lose their stuff, and they'll do that. They'll send you the money, and maybe it'll be a hacked PayPal account, maybe it'll be their real PayPal account, or credit card funding it or whatever, and then they do a chargeback later, 30 days later. So by then, they've already sold the product to somebody else. They've made their money, and they've made it all off of you. You've then already deposited the money. You've gone and spent it on something else, and now your account is $400, $500 negative. You see where I'm going here with this? I see it happen all the time. So some people get lucky selling, but others don't, and I strongly discourage it. And if people are interested in actually working in an area where the sales like this are legit, that's a whole different story. There are a few markets that are legit, like Second Life, Project Entropia. Those ones are legit. But if you're like selling your WoW account, not legit. It doesn't matter what anybody says. Some companies do have a transfer system where you can transfer from one player to another. And in fact, there is one area, like in EVE Online, you're able to buy characters. But I believe you have to buy them for ISK. Don't quote me on this, because I've never done it. But I do believe that they allow you to sell characters for ISK, and then there's a real cash transaction fee for moving the character's ownership from one player to another. And so they recognize that people want to do that, and they want to support it, but they want to keep the money in-game and everything. And so, but if you're cashing out of the game, ISK doesn't do you any good, does it? So, and EVE, by the way, is one of those games where you don't screw around with RMT, because if you buy a billion ISK or something like that, and you violate the terms of service doing it, and they catch you, they then take that money away, and they fine you that amount and put in your account negative. So it's something that you got to be really careful about. Well, not careful about like as in you should do it carefully, but that you should avoid that. So anyway, hope that answers your question. I know it's not quite the answer you wanted. That's a little bit of the history of RMT, but where are we going in the future? There are some things so Blizzard tried with Diablo 3 to do their auction house, and they tried this and they gave it up. And I'm sure they gave it up because it wasn't profitable, not because they didn't want to make money off of it, or they weren't going to allow people. They were allowing people to do this. And I don't know what's happened to the market these days, because just recently the auctions have stopped. But so maybe that's gone underground. I don't know. But the fact is that they're exiting out of that. They were losing a lot of money, I believe, and the fraud problems. And then it also causes other problems. It causes farming problems. And so, in the beginning, people were making a lot of money based on these things that that people were acquiring in the game and then turning out and reselling through the system. But it stressed the system in a way where it just wasn't good for the players. So all this farming going on and everything, there's all this stuff going on. It just wasn't a good play experience. And that may have factored into part of it. I know that we've talked with several game companies. I've talked with several game companies about being able to do some sort of sales and the game company taking a portion of it or whatnot. The fact is, in order to do it and to do it well, the gaming company probably has to take 50%. And that's because there's a lot of fraud attempts. There's a lot of humans involved in stopping those fraud attempts, or not stopping the fraud attempts, but just not allowing transactions to take place that they believe are fraudulent. And there's a lot of customer service involved. And so it's a really high cost to facilitate transactions like this. There can be automated systems to put it in place, but people will game that anytime there's real money involved. And then the whole cash out system is another big deal, where if people actually take and do an in-game transaction and then they're able to cash out their money, like the game company takes in the money and then verifies it and then sends it out or whatnot, and transactions are happening where gambling has taken place in the game, just even simple friendly gambling, then it's a problem, because then they fall under gambling laws, which, oh my god, no game company wants to have that happen. So anyway, good luck with your stuff. I suggest staying out of the RMT markets, and thank you for the question. So if you have a question for me, feel free to send it to my YouTube inbox. I'm happy to answer some of them, not all, some of them. And who knows, might even do it while I'm out and about, someplace like here. I'm Marky Dragon. Take care.